But over that time, there was like a really impactful thing that happened to my health that meant that I wanted to revisit what I was doing. So
Mm-hmm.
in October 2019, I was going to the gym to rehab a dislocated shoulder. And so I was like, yes, the point of the physio was supposed to be increasing the weight slowly and gradually, and then eventually I'd get full range of motion back in my shoulder, and then I'll be back to full fit. And so I was doing that as I was told by my physio, and picked up a weight that was a little bit heavier. That was kind of the plan. And I felt a warm dribble of water down the back of my neck, even though I just got there. And was like, it felt really strange. I touched the back of my head, it was dry, and just thought, that feels really strange. It started to feel a little bit off, and I thought that maybe today is just not the day to
Mm-hmm.
work out. So I left the gym, was going back to my car. I started feeling really dizzy, and getting really hot, and then I was sick everywhere. And so at that time, I lived with my parents. So I called my dad, and I said, I don't feel well enough to drive home.
Mm-hmm.
Can you come pick me up? And after I got off the phone with him, I was sick again. I was getting really, really hot to the point where I took my clothes off, basically just to like
Wow.
lie on the floor because I was so
Mm-hmm.
hot. I wanted to lie on the cold floor. So I laid down outside my car, being sick. My head started to really, really hurt. It kind of felt like my brain was getting increasingly bigger, and my skull couldn't keep it in anymore. It felt like there was so
Wow.
much pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I called an ambulance myself, because I thought that I don't think there was a moment where I thought like, oh, this is really bad. So I called an ambulance. I fell unconscious whilst I was on the phone to the ambulance, and then woke up in hospital. Now I don't remember any of this bit. Like, since I passed out, I don't remember any of it. This is what I've been told. But I
Mm-hmm.
was passed out. I woke up in the hospital, in my local hospital, and I told everyone that I was in a fight. I said that you need to go and find the other guy because he's in a worse way than I am. Like, I beat him. And my parents were like, "There's no way. He was in the gym. He wasn't in a fight." And I'm like, "No, no, no. Trust me, trust me. Like, I beat this guy up." Um, and so then, just by chance, a nurse had walked past the room that I was being seen in, and she said, Are you telling me that he wasn't in a fight, but he keeps saying he was?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's exactly." And they're like, "Okay, let's call Oxford," which is a place sort of close to where I was at the time, who is specialised in neuro, so in brain situations.
Mm-hmm.
So they had already kind of diagnosed me as it was a concussion. He'll be fine in a few weeks, whatever. But they called up Oxford, and they said, get him here immediately. So I went back in an ambulance all the way to Oxford. And then I was immediately seen, had scans done, and I had had a brain aneurysm,
Oh,
which is where
damn.
a blood vessel in my brain kind of, it popped, and there's blood inside my brain. And like, that
Wow.
is such a, like, a cognitive head fuck, really. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
hard. The feeling of dizziness, you just can't describe it. The world is completely spinning. Your head feels in so much pressure. It's the most pain ever. And so then I had lots of surgery was the next plan. And because I was an adult at the time, I was 23. I had to make sure that I was like signing to do the procedures, do the surgeries. But I was off my head on all these drugs that they were giving me. Like, I was so like out of it, and I couldn't sign anything. So I was like fingerprinting stuff. I was just
Damn.
scribbling. Um, but yeah, so they did the first surgery, which is there's a scar here, and I have two train track scars that go down the top of my head. Which, when I go bald, I'm gonna look so bad because it's gonna
Dude,
get massive
you're gonna
scars.
look badass is what you're gonna look.
Gonna look like I was in a
You can
Kishkar.
accompany those with some tattoos, and man, you're gonna look awesome.
I look badass. But if I could have a beard like you, that would look cool. But, like, I can't grow a good beard, man. I just could grow a neck one. It'd be rubbish. Um, so they did the first surgery, wasn't successful. So what they had to do was they had to cut down this side, to get into under the skull into the brain, and then they also had to cut here to drain out all of the fluid because the issue was back here. And it failed. And then they tried again, and it failed. And then they tried again, and it failed. And so, like, every single time that they tried the surgery, it like was more impactful on my physical being, like, so like it was messing up my skull, it was messing up my side of my head. So they were
Mm-hmm.
like, if we try it one more time, it has to be from this side and go all the way around, which would be a much harder operation to do successfully. And it was like way risky. I think it was a 20% chance of surviving it.
Damn.
Um, and so yeah, they came to my parents and me, and they're like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, I was off my head. I don't remember any of it. I was completely, I was barely there. But like my parents were like, what other choice do we have? Like it's either we try it again or I die. And so they tried again, and they're just the most magical people, and the most talented people at this hospital. The person that did my surgery was Dr. Young, and she is one of 20, I think, that could do that surgery in the
Wow.
country. And she did it, and I'm here today. And so there was a lot of long story short, long story long maybe, but there was a lot of recovery after that. I spent the next month in hospital, just recovering and learning to walk again and things like that. And kind of once you got over those initial things was when I kind of had a lot of time to myself to think, and just thought, I don't know if I want to do media anymore, advertising. I don't know if this is for me. And I've been spending my whole life doing creative things, and I wasn't fulfilling that anymore. So I thought, like, well, this is what I want to do. I want to try and be creative again, and scratch that creative itch. And so whilst I was recovering, I was doing just trying different bits of design. Like I was doing album artwork for some people. I was doing like merch and things and that, or loads of different things, some art. And then I stumbled across the 30-day logo core logo challenge,
Mm-hmm.
where you sign a logo every single day for 30 days. And I thought, yeah, I mean, I've got 30 days. Let's just do that.
Let's
I,
do it.
I did that and just fell in love with it. I mean, some of it is still on my Instagram if you scroll all the way down, and they're rubbish. They're really bad. I think some of the really bad ones I deleted, but some of the ones I like, it's quite nice to see like the growth from like some of the bad
Mm-hmm.
ones, what we're doing now. But so yeah, I did that for a while, and I just fell deeply, deeply and madly in love with logo design and branding.
¿Qué está pasando, mi gente? Si les gustó este video, pueden ver la entrevista completa aquí. Y no olviden suscribirse.